I'm not going to live in fear. Hello guys, it's Charles Grove with Foraging Truth. With a lot of things going on today, it's hard to focus and get perspective. You are seeing what goes on the news, and you're seeing what, things plastered all over social media about things that you can't change. Not as one person. But you're not supposed to be afraid. And I don't want you to be afraid. Fear is our worst enemy. Fear and worry is interest paid on trouble that never happens. Now, do we have concerns today? Yes, we do. And the most important thing is that we keep the right perspective. With the things we're being shown, the happenings that are going around the world, and maybe even some things that you don't know about. Some people believe that we're living in the end days of everything we know. And when I say end days, I mean basically the end of everything. It is the end to what we know, not the end of our existence. So things are changing. I told you guys to get victory gardens together if you can. Hopefully you did that. I've done that, and it's something that shows a reliance on the creation, and that you're preparing yourself for what may come. Not necessarily what is coming, but what may come. So it is our job to keep perspective. And we're going to talk about a few things that are troubling, but I brought you out here today with me to kind of show you some things that maybe you're worried about, and then show you why I'm not worried at all. So, before I start the lesson today of a plant that many of us have heard about, and has incredible uses for the human body, let's talk about some things that Christ said was going to take place, and that may be taking place right now, or maybe we're even just getting a precursor to what is to come. But let's talk about that. So there's locust swarms. If you haven't heard about it, they're massive. And Africa is getting hit with them right now. They're eating all their crops. Now, the Bible does talk about pestilence in the end days, but that word was translated meant disease. Now, we also are facing diseases. Not as bad as we could be. It's not a black plague or a major influenza. But it is something that we should take heed and, take our precautions and make wise decisions. So, pestilence meaning disease. So, we have some major shutdowns going on, and, they're trying to bring the masks back and stuff like that. And that might be a concern of yours. Or maybe it's a fear. Now, with the locust, we maybe thought that was the pestilence. No, but he also talked about famine. Christ talked about famine, pestilence, wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes, and things happening in various places throughout the world, kind of like the tempo is building for something. So there's a lot of people that are afraid right now. Maybe you're not one of them, but maybe you are. So this message for you, if you're worried, You know, there's a lot of stories in the Bible about worrying and why Christ said not to fear and don't worry. One of them is when Jesus got on the ship and his disciples followed him, and there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and woke him and said, Lord, save us, we perish. And he arose and asked them a question. He said, why are you so fearful, O ye of little faith? And he rebuked the winds and the sea, and I'm pretty sure you know the rest. You know, there was a great calm, a great peace. And the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? Well, what manner of man was he? You know, that's the major question for us today. You know, what do you believe about Christ and who he was? Either you're calling him a liar, or you have found him and you believe in him. So, have you? That's the major question, isn't it? Do you believe? Because everything is based off of belief. Everything else without belief is futile. So, we have all these major events. We have the Bible clearly telling us, Christ clearly telling us not to fear. Well, that's because he has absolute control on everything that's taking place, even today. So, if he can, you know, calm a storm with words, that's absolute control. And that God is in control of your life if you let him. You know, that's the purpose behind Foraging Truth. That's why I made this site, is to teach you that God is in control. And that everything he made, 7 days, 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. And he made everything that we know today. I think that's absolute control. Now, he also said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Well, what does that mean? You know, does that mean the 10 commandments or the extra commandments that he gave us? Because now we're underneath grace and underneath the law. The law only shows us that we can't keep it. You know, he had to teach us that fact first. And nothing we do, not me making these videos for you, not anything that we can possibly do is going to earn our way into heaven. All we're supposed to do is spread the word. So, do not fear. You know, come out here. I'm pretty sure you can hear the background of this area. It just reminds me that God is in control. He made all this, and the birds haven't stopped singing. The sun has not stopped shining yet. And the leaves are rustling in the breeze. Just another fact that he loves you. Let's talk about that quick. So, Christ's love for us. People always commonly go right back to the cross. Well, yes, that is the ultimate price for love. To give your life for another, there's no greater love. He said that. And then he did it. But then he rose again. And if you don't believe that he rose again, I think you need to search the old manuscripts written by the Romans. Because they didn't want to believe that he rose again. But I think even Pontius Pilate wrote a letter about that. So, with the creation and things we've been given, and if you are prepping and you are a prepper, well, then maybe there's a good reason you're prepping. We have a lot going on. So, I'm going to bring you one of my favorite plants. Maybe you already know what this plant is. There's two of them here. There's this one, and there's this guy right here. Two clearly different plants, or different plants in themselves. So, we're going to notice right away that it has 5 leaves. And all those leaves come together in one spot. They don't come together on a different spot of the pedules. They come together in one spot. If I can get this stuff out of the way. They come together in one spot. There's 3 main leaves. There's 2 trailer leaves. It's sawtooth, and it has a very distinct tip. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay. They're very uniform. It makes a 5-pointed star if you look at it. And on these groups, they call these prongs, especially a lot of the hunters that hunt for this herb. This one is a 3-prong. You can see off the main stem, which is green and very woody, that it comes up and it branches into 3. This is a 3-prong. This is also a 3-prong over here. Now what we have that's different than this plant is we have a berry cluster starting in the center. Can you guys see that? Okay. Now, come the end of August into September, this green will have big red berries all over it. And sometimes that weights the plant down. They'll end up laying down and they'll grow to still face the sun. So, what is this plant? This is Appalachian Ginseng. This is one of the most sought after plants or herbs in the Appalachians and in other countries where it grows. Now they say the quality of ginseng is best in this area. This is the better quality ginseng. A lot of Asian countries buy this from America, and you can make a pretty good chunk of change harvesting and selling this if you do it wisely. If you harvest everything, like Pennsylvania has regulations on it has to have 3 prongs to harvest it. So these are both harvestable according to Pennsylvania. I don't harvest these. I harvest the ones that are way bigger than this. But those are in my secret areas that I have, and this is an area that I've already planted. This is all my ginseng. So, and this is 2 plants of about 40 that I have in this area. And that is why my camera's facing down. But I am going to walk around and show you the different plants towards the end of the video. So, what can we use ginseng for? If we're in a survival situation and we need to stay awake and we need to get from point A to point B and we need to do it right now. Well, this root, when you dig this root and this rhizome out of the ground, it's very knobby. It's very, it's not very, it doesn't have a lot of fibril mass coming off of it like you would expect roots. It has a main root, kind of like a carrot, but bent and disformed because this is wild cultivated. But this is all wild seed from this area. So the way I plant it is the way that it is meant to be planted. You drop the berries on top of the leaves, or if you know turkey and grouse are in your area, you can actually pile up the berries in a spot. When the turkeys come through, they will eat them all and they'll go plant them for you. Same with the grouse. So this is something that I've been foraging for many years. It was taught to me by my father-in-law, who's passed away now. So the root gives us a couple main things. It gives us a lot of energy. It opens up your vascular system. And the way you prepare that for yourself is you can eat a piece of the root, or you can cut small sections of the root sparingly and boil that in water, and then steep your favorite tea off the boiled water, and you will get the same effects that I'm telling you about. Now, this is considered a hot, cold herb. The root is hot, which it gives you energy and stimulates. The plant, once you harvest this root, you can snap the plant off. Dry them hanging upside down. It keeps the nice green leaves, then gets very brittle. And what you do is you steep those, and it calms you down. Which is very unique, because I always take it right back to Christ. You know, He's the reason why we have these things. This root does not the same effect, but when you have Christ, He calms you down, and He lights you on fire. With the Holy Spirit, you go out and you tell the story. You tell everybody about Christ. So, this is Appalachian Ginseng. 5 leaves, They all come together in one point. They're very sawtoothed on the edge. They have distinct tips. It has a green stem. There is a plant that grows in the Appalachians that kind of looks like ginseng, but these two leaflets will grow further back on the stem, and it will make you look, but seasoned ginseng hunters, they know the leaf. That's what they hunt. They don't hunt the berries. They don't look for red berries. Sometimes you do see the red berries first, but it's very few and far between that I actually see the red berries before I see the leaf structure. It's very distinct, and as you can tell, that's what you're going to see when you're walking through the woods, and you know you're standing around ginseng. And that means to start looking. Not only do we have these two plants, but do you see the ginseng over there? Right here. There's 3 right in this spot, and there's some smaller ginsengs. If I can do this without knocking my camera down, I'm going to do it. This little guy right here is a ginseng. You'll notice the leaf still has the distinct tip. You can see the tip of my finger there. There's the distinct tip. And there's 3 leaves on it right now, but it's just a very tiny plant. So, Appalachian ginseng, this is just an ID video. Come September, I'll teach you how to harvest it, and then I'll take you to some of my other spots and show you some big plants. They get 4 prongs. I have got 5 prongs out of this area, and yeah, that's unique, and some of those have the stem the width of a number 2 pencil, and that gets exciting for me because I like harvesting ginseng. But I do it wisely. I leave these things go and harvest the big plants. That's what you have to do. The older plants, the better, and you get more money for it if you dry it and sell it. But if you're just looking for usage, then it doesn't really matter. You can take a 3-pronger here and a 3-pronger there, and you can use those plants to aid in your health and well-being. And as you can see, guys, this is a 2-pronger. 3-pronger right here. And then here's another one. There's a 3-pronger with a 2-pronger. It's a 3-pronger, but the one prong actually died. Broke off. With a couple more steps, Appalachian ginseng. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want you to do something for me. I want you to go home and get some time. Talk to God. Yes, I seem pretty serious right now, but I'm actually at peace. It's something I haven't had a lot in my life, but God has given that to me. There's a lot of things that you can do to calm yourself using herbs and medications. Some of you even possibly might be doing some illegal drugs. But I have not had peace like when you find Christ and He starts cleaning your life. And a lot of people get confused. When you find Christ, it doesn't mean you're not going to have any problems ever again and you're going to become rich. I've heard all these things from TV evangelism. It's simply not true. The Bible clearly tells us that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. So, when you seek Christ out, and you truly mean it with belief, and you ask for forgiveness, it's amazing what happens. Well, first off, now you become justified. Justified by Him. So nobody can take that justification away from you. You know, once you're in the hand of Christ, no one will snatch you from His hand, and He told you that. But a lot of people say, well, I still do things wrong then. Maybe I'm not really saved. Well, see, here's the problem. God knows that. God knew that you were going to fall. You're not perfect. See, we commonly fall. I fall. Everybody falls. You're not going to become perfect instantly. But what they call it is now that you've gone justified, you're going to become, you start in the process of sanctification. Sanctification is a whole different thing. You become more Christ-like as you mature with age, and you continue to be justified until your death. So, the world's starting to catch up with some of the studies that are being done of consciousness and where it comes from. You guys can look these up for yourself. Scientists are studying where consciousness comes from because they thought it came from the brain, but now they don't know where it comes from because of some of the studies they're doing. Well, the Bible already told us that. You know, the Bible told us a lot of things before science even proved them. So, guys, be ready. Don't be left wandering. You know, if it is those days, and these things are happening, well, Christ told us they were going to happen. There's a love note. Now, I told you I was going to get in a little bit more of the love of Christ. Well, the love of Christ is unmatched. First off, He paid for you like He paid for a bride. A lot of the things that He told us about His love was only matched in a marriage ceremony or a marriage between a man and a woman. And that confuses some people. I know they're like, wait a second, you know, Christ was a male, I'm a male. Well, I you know, to love Him like a bride, well, that's, you know, but that is the only love that comes close to our understanding of how much He loves us. Now, if this was created in 7 days, with 1 day of rest for God, right? He's been gone for 2,000 years, and what was He doing the whole time? You know, what does the Bible say? What does Christ say? What was He doing? Well, here's the amazing thing. He said, I go to prepare a place for you, so that where I am, there ye may be also. He made this in 7 days, 2,000 years, and He's preparing a place for you. Now, you know, and it's not just for, the Bible isn't for the prophets are going to heaven, or that guy, he's probably going to heaven, or, you know, this person's probably going to heaven. It was written for you. It is very, very personal. I hope I've helped you guys out. I want you to have peace. I want you to have joy. I want you to keep living. I don't want you to live in fear. I'm not going to live in fear. I don't care what comes. I will not renounce my faith, because in renouncing Him, I would say that I didn't love Him, and I do. Well, we've foraged for a lot today. American Ginseng, and the truth, which is Christ. So, keep foraging. This is Chuck Grove with Foraging Truth. Have a great day.